What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Going for Two. I am Q1 Humphreys. Slightly different setup right now. We are currently traveling, but these vids still got to come out. I want to talk about the Golden State Warriors. You know what I'm saying? They got over the past 72 hours, they come up with two big-time victories, and they look like they could be a real threat come playoff time. But before I go even further, make sure y'all hit that subscribe button, man. Hit the subscribe button, share, like, comment, do what y'all gotta do, share with y'all folks. Let's keep this ball rolling. But back to the Golden State Warriors. Last night they defeated the Denver Nuggets in, I would say, convincing fashion. They were in control of that game all game long. Steph Curry had another big time performance with 35 points, hitting 7 threes. And the game before that, the day before that, they went to LA and beat the Lakers. And I would say, once again, convincing fashion. Yes, it was a single-digit game at the end of the game, but the Warriors found themselves up by double digits through majority of the contest. Steph Curry had himself a 37-point game in that game as well. This comes, really this whole week for the Warriors has been really good. They've gotten 3 quality wins against 3 quality opponents, and they look like they're just gearing up for the postseason. And that is a very scary sight if you are a team in the Western Conference. Namely, I would say the Houston Rockets, or even the Denver Nuggets, or the Los Angeles Lakers. The teams that can see the Warriors in the first round of the playoffs. The Warriors currently are fifth in the West, but they are only 1 full game back from that third spot, which is actually shocking. Because before the Jimmy Butler trade went down, this was a team we were talking about. The dynasty's over. We were saying that everything's over. Steph doesn't look happy out there. Draymond's he's becoming more of a thing off the court than he is on the court, and they just need help. They made the trade for Jimmy Butler, and it has been a night and day switch for them. 21-4 record with Jimmy Butler on a team, and it has literally revitalized their season to where they're now a dark horse to win the West, in my opinion. This is a very dangerous team. And I said in my video when Jimmy Butler got traded, I said, you take a guy like Jimmy Butler and you throw him beside Steph Curry, anything is possible. And over these past 25 games with Jimmy Butler, we've seen what is possible. They're winning tough game after tough game after tough game, and I think it's going to be really tough to just put this team out in the playoffs, especially with that championship pedigree that the team has. Majority of the guys on this team, I would say, were a part of that 2021 or 2022 NBA Finals run, along with the Jimmy Butler now, who has 2 Finals runs over the past 5 seasons as well with the Miami Heat. But I think now is just the energy, the vibe. The energy around the Warriors team as a whole is completely different than how it was at the beginning of the season. And in large part is due to Jimmy Butler. I saw a tweet that said Steph got a second option, and now he's remembered he's Steph Curry again. That's exactly how it feels. You watched Steph last night against the Nuggets. He was hitting all kinds of threes. He would run to the paint, do a little no-look pass to Jimmy Butler, run around 3-4 screens, and then still have to hit a very contested 3-point shot. That's who Stephen Curry is. That's who he is. That's who he's going to be for the rest of his career. And I would say right now, I was a guy that was writing this team off before the trade went down. I was writing them off. They couldn't beat the best teams in the West. They started off really well, but those are kind of against cupcake teams. So when I would say the valleys of the season came through, they looked horrible. And kudos to the front office, kudos to the GM, going out and getting Jimmy Butler and saying, okay, we're going to make one more push with Steph and Draymond. We're going to make one more push. And going out and getting Jimmy Butler and seeing the way the team has looked ever since that move is absolutely incredible. But what's even more interesting to me, or another interesting fact that's going on with the Warriors right now, is that they have a starting lineup of Steph Curry, Podziemski, Jimmy Butler, Moses Moody, and Draymond Green. Draymond at the 5. When they start that lineup, they have not lost, if I'm correct. I'm pretty sure that's correct. But they have not lost with that lineup. And that's crazy that that's happening, because in the Western Conference, size matters. Size matters. You have the Oklahoma City Thunder who are probably going to run out a 2-big lineup. And I don't think that matters. I don't think they played the Thunder yet with Jimmy Butler. But you got Jokic, who they just beat last night. You got the Lakers, who they just beat 2 nights ago with LeBron and Luka Doncic, 2 guys that are going to put pressure on the rim. and they're just doing what they gotta do. They're defensively they're better, offensively they're better. Everything just looks good for the Warriors, and I think it is actually pretty concerning. It is pretty concerning if you are one of those top teams in the Western Conference, or one of those teams that you could see this team in the first round. You know, I think the ceiling for the Warriors now, to me, I think they can make the Western Conference Finals. I don't think they beat OKC 4 times, because OKC, you can't discredit how they've been all year long. 64 wins, 12 losses so far. You can't discredit who they've been all year long, but you also have to give credit at the same time. The Warriors look a lot better than a lot of these other teams do right now. Only one game back from the 3 seed. It could seriously get scary for the Western Conference. And we know Steph. He's the babyface assassin. He's got a beard now, so I guess we can't call him babyface assassin anymore. But he's an absolute killer in the playoffs. The greatest shooter of all time. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be a wild ride, a very wild ride. I also want to give shout out to Draymond Green. Draymond Green has stepped up his play to me as well. You know, he's back to being that quarterback, that quarterback of the Golden State Warriors offense. You know, I always looked at Steph and Draymond as like the NBA's version of Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes. You know, when I say that, I mean 2 guys that are just dialed in and so locked in together to where they know, Draymond knows, okay, Steph want the ball here, this is how I get the ball to him. It's the exact same way with them two, and you know, watching that over the past couple games has been very, very crucial, very, very big. You know what I'm saying? But man, I'm gonna keep saying it. Steph's on an absolute heater right now. He dropped 50 points against the Grizzlies earlier this week. Then back-to-back near 40 balls against 2 teams that you're right there in the Western Conference standings with. Man, that is absolutely scary. I really want to just throw some stats out there as well, because I did mostly just me talking about what I see, but I want to put the stats with it. The Golden State Warriors over the last 25 games are 4th in the league in offensive rating, and they're also 4th or 5th in the league in defensive rating as well. So that just shows how far this team has come. You know what I'm saying? That just shows how far it's come. You know, there was times in the season where Steph Curry, whenever Steph sat down, the offense just stopped. It just stopped, and then defensively they couldn't stop a nosebleed. But now it looked like a completely different team. And looking at history, teams that are in the top 5 of both the offense and defensive ratings go on to win championships. Not saying they're gonna do that this year. Not saying they're gonna do that. I still got OKC coming out the West, but the Warriors are a legit threat to me, especially if 30 get going crazy and decide to go Super Saiyan 30. But that's all I got for y'all, man. Until next time, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. Going for 2, we out of here. Yeah.